everyone, my name is Aparna Bhatia, and this week's tech tip is about how to create custom dimension styles. Here I'm using the default dimensions that we give you if you're creating the default shop drawings, so they get loaded in when you create those. So I'm using the sample shop drawing dims as my base. And over here at the top, I want to create I want to create ordinate dimensions. And over here on the side, I would like to create baseline dimensions. So let's see how we can get started with that. Okay, so let's select that first one and we'll go ahead and hit edit, type. And when you hit edit type here, I want to duplicate this and I want to give it a new name. So I'm going to call it linear space hyphen space 1/16 of an inch. That's my text size. Arial, that's the font, and I want this to be blue in color, blue, and then I want this to be ordinate dimension style. Okay, string type, sorry. So we'll hit OK here. So first thing we're going to do is, since this is ordinate, we're going to change this to ordinate. And then over here we can choose our tick mark settings. So I'm going to use the 2mm, which is typically 1/16 of an inch. And then I'm going to use, then you have your options for line weight if you like. I like my tick mark line weight to be 3. I just like the thickness, otherwise it looks a little off or too bold on a sheet of paper. And then over here for your dimension line extension, which is this little piece right here, you can choose what you want it to be. I typically like it to be the same size as my text. So over here, I'm just going to copy this and paste it because our text size is 1/16. And then your witness line control is gap to element. That's how you're going to locate where your witness line starts. And then over here, you can specify your witness line gap to element, which is 1/16, which is normal. Then your witness line extension is that little piece that's sticking out. So the gap to element is this little gap here. So that little piece sticking out, I want it to be the same distance as the size of the text. And then if you wanted to add a tick mark, like over here to say, put a dot and then have it extend out, you have the option to do that. Okay. And then you have a few other settings. But first, since we're doing ordinate dimensions, we are going to go ahead and take a look at the ordinate dimension settings. And over here, it's asking you, what's your orientation of your text? Right now, it's located parallel to the dimension line. I want it to be parallel to the witness line. So I want it to be parallel to this line here. So the text will be vertical like that. The next question asks is, do you want it to be positioned at the end of the witness line or next to the witness line? Next to the witness line means it's right flush close to here. The end of the witness line is, once the witness line is drawn, at the end it will place the text, which I think is much cleaner. So I prefer that method. So it will be end of witness line as our option. And then over here, you have options for your origin visibility. Do you actually want it to say, draw that line there and say this is 0 inches, or that's where it starts? Or do you want it to say just the witness line, draw the witness line, so it just starts here and then all the dimensions start without saying 0 inches? I like it with the 0 inches. It just gives you a base point of where everything is starting. And you can also change the tick mark at the origin. So I'm going to change the tick mark here to be filled dot 1/16 of an inch. And then you have different options for continuous line segment, line style, or you want it segmented. And then you can choose your size for your segments over here. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it continuous. I want it to be a straight line there. And that's that. And then over here, I want to change the color of the text and the line to be blue. And then over here, the dimension line snap distance, I also wanted to make it 1/16 of an inch. Here you can fix up what your text looks like. So first we're going to make this 1/16 of an inch. Okay, and I like to make the width factor be 0.9 just so it's a little condensed. The text is a little condensed because sometimes you have super small areas like this and it might not fit everything in there. And then the next thing I have the option to do is adjust my units. So right now we have 1/16 as our tolerance for the project, but for the shop drawings, I want it to be 1/4 of an inch. That's our tolerance. So we don't care about anything smaller than 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to say to the nearest quarter. And then if it says 0 feet 3 inches, I just wanted to say 3 inches. I don't really care about the 0 feet, so I'll suppress 0 feet. And over here where it says suppress spaces, so you can see that there's 1 foot space hyphen space 4 inches. It will get rid of those spaces in the middle. Okay, so that's what suppress spaces does. You can hit OK. If you want any alternate units, you can add those in here as well. Okay, so that's how you will add in your ordinate dimension. So you can see that little dot that we added in, and then the rest of the dimensions go from there. Over here, I want all my horizontals to be using baseline dimensions maybe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the one that I already created as a base. So let's change this one to the blue dimension here. And I'm going to change this to be a baseline dimension. So we're going to edit type, duplicate it, and I'm going to change the name from ordinate. I'm going to change it to, or not change it, make it be baseline, create the new one to be baseline, and then I'm going to change the color to be red, and I'll hit OK. So over here for the dimension string type, I'll change this to baseline, and then over here I'll change the color to red. Oops, red. And all the other settings I kind of want to keep the same, so I don't want to change anything else here. I'll just hit OK. And there you go. That's your baseline dimension. Okay, and for the bottom over here, it's dimensioning the anchors for me right now. So what I want it to be is I want it to be continuous, and I want it to be green because it's dimensioning my connections. So I can basically go back and use the default dimension that I created, which is the blue ordinate. And then I can duplicate this and change this to be continuous, OUS. I'm going to change the color to say green. Okay, and hit OK. And then over here, I'll just make it continuous. And then over here, I'm just going to change the color to be green and hit OK. And the rest of the settings are the way I want it, and I'll hit all right here. So that's basically what it does. It organizes all my shop drawing dimensions as I like them. And now that I've created these ones, I can go ahead inside my shop drawing settings and change the dimension styles based on the dimension that it's being created. And that's it for this week's tech tip. Have a great day.